Eddy Troxler here, jazzchat.org. Back for another exciting episode. Hopefully it's exciting anyway. My voice, I thought it was better. Like if you watched last week's episode, that was a little stopped up. But it's like a really lingering cough we have going on around up here. I don't know if it's nationwide or if it's just Central Mass or if it's worldwide. Yeah, it's one of those that doesn't seem to want to go away. But anyway, jazzchat.org. If you ever want to be a guest, just, look me up. You have my email through jazzchat.org, or I can tell it to you, Eddy's Music Co. EDYSMUSICCO @gmail.com. You can also, I have a YouTube channel, Eddy Troxler, TROXLER, or right now I'm at FATV, and we can thank the people there for the use of their equipment and teaching me how to do all this stuff. It's really a good deal. And what I do here, I choose public domain or original music lately, and we can talk about anything. If you want to come on and discuss something else, mostly music related, or jazz related. I try to encourage you to, I don't write it out, and sometimes I'll give you some different voicings, but I want you to explore this stuff yourself, as in, how's this saying, if you give a man a fish, he eats for a day. If you teach him how to fish, they eat for life. So that's what I want to do, is inspire you to take these, and do your own version of them. And this is the way I go about. Not necessarily that it's the best way, but it's the way I go about, playing them and performing them. I do work as a musician and, and a teacher. Always free intro lessons online or in person. Just give me a shout. So today I chose, I've been going through a lot. It's now 2026, so anything 1930 or prior has become public domain. So there was a lot of really cool stuff written in 30s or in 1930 and before too. So today, like last week I did Georgia, which is, a pretty good standard that gets done a lot of different places. Did kind of a chord solo of it. If you have any questions on that one, give me a shout. Today I took Dream a Little Dream of Me. The Mamas and the Papas made a hit out of it, maybe in the 70s sometime, I think it's 70s. So you could check out that version. I knew it was older because there's a Doris Day version that was pretty popular. But I really didn't know it was 1930 until I researched it a little bit. So there's I put it on the web, the jazzchat.org, where you can download it for free, or you can just go to MuseScore and type in, or go anywhere, type in free PDF for Dream a Little Dream of Me. It's up there, or you can pay for it if you want to, but you really don't have to. So the general what we call the real book key is the key of G. So, but really to learn them in a bunch of different keys. So the G key, it starts on if you pull those charts up, I put a C one up and a G one up. Because those are pretty common keys. I'd say if you called it off at a jazz jam, that it would probably be G because it's in the real book key, that key. All right, so the first chord says G6, right? And then we can just grab that, that triad if we want. The 6 means you're adding an E. don't necessarily have to do that, but it is in the melody, the very last note. So, you're getting that 6 there. It's, you could put it there if you wanted, but it's not. I just usually do that triad. And again, the triads are up on the jazzchat.org. You can download those for free. You can download my book for free. And there's also 7th chords up there, that the inversions of 7th chords on the high 4 strings. The triads are on the high 3 strings, which is the ones I use the most for comping. And you can think about too, anything that's on the high string, you can also put on the low string at the same fret. Like, say, if you need to fill in some bass, if you don't have a bass. So anyway, that first triad, I'm just doing that, which is a B, D, and a G, and you can put that bass note in there if you want. And I'm just kind of sliding it for that melody, just like that, So the melody says, F sharp, G, F sharp, E. So we got. And then for that, for the E flat 7 to D7, if you know that plain old cowboy D7 that most people learn in the beginning, right? Just move it up a fret for the E flat, D flat, E flat and D sharp would be the same. So here's what we got so far. Does that? And then the next time it says E7 and your melody is that. That's the melody. So that's, you could do that whole chord there if you want to do that 7th chord inversion, it would be. But it's not, you don't have enough time to do all of it. And then it'd be 2/5 of, it's called a 2/5 of a minor. That's where you have that B minor 7th, flat 5, or some people call that a half diminished. I was taught not to call it that. You have a B minor 7 flat 5 to an E7. Generally, when you see that, it's going to a minor, that B minor 7 flat 5. If you look at the chords within a key in the book that I wrote, The Blues Rock to Bach, if you're in a minor key, you're starting and ending on the 6th. So that way the 2 chord would be the 7th in a major. If it was a major key, that would be the 7th chord, which is a minor 7 flat 5. So that's where that comes from. And then the dominant 7th, you have that G sharp leading tone back to the root. To the root of the minor that you're going to. So you could say that's, borrowed from harmonic minor or melodic minor. I don't want to get too much into that because we want to play the tune. All right, so. So I'm just doing that, just doing the melody there. And then the A minor 7. I'm just playing those notes. And then. So that, you got to go up to here. So just, you want to, or I do, when you have those shifts, make sure and practice them, that shift a lot so you don't overshoot it or undershoot it. Or you could play, you could play the whole thing up here, that whole run. You know what I mean? So you don't have to shift. But kind of, I like, sometimes like teachers or methods will teach you not to use any open strings, but I like to use them, and I can think. I don't think he minds. He probably would appreciate it if I mentioned his name. One of my teachers at Berkeley helped me started really getting into this, like adding those harmonics and open strings. And Robert Stanton, if you look him up, or Bobby, he's a master at that stuff. He's up there with, to me, his playing ability. He's like, up there with Chet Atkins and Doc Watson, and but he started getting me to thinking about those open strings and harmonics. So especially in the key of G, you have a lot of that. And sometimes they call that hybrid picking. A lot of the Nashville players are into that. They'll incorporate open strings and fretted strings. Like, you get these runs like, which is what I'm doing. I'm fretting and then playing my open string. A lot of the hybrid pickers will use their pick and their fingers if you listen to Albert Lee's. There's an Alvin Lee too that's good, but Albert Lee is really into all that. I'm not that good at it, but that's kind of the way you go about it. All right, so for that run, you could do something like that. You have a D. I could do the G there, the E open. So that, something like that. But, like I say, experiment with yourself. Like a lot of tunes, this song is A-A-B-A. Which means, A section twice, the B section once, and then we're back to the A section. You kind of just get used to those forms. It took me a while, rather than for a while it seemed like it was like playing video games or something. You're watching all these chord changes go by, but if you play this stuff enough, you get used to hearing those those 4-bar phrases. And to learn, if you can, like some of the lyrics, kind of help to kind of understand the changes. The C version, kind of the same thing. The one I downloaded for the website that's up there, the C version, the melody's up a little bit higher, so you really come up with a totally different concept. I mean, even with the other one, the one in G, I could just as easily do that G here. Then my you know what I mean? So and I might do it both ways. I might go back and forth. Or if I'm soloing, or if there's other people in the band, kind of listen to what's going on around me. But anyway, that was pretty much the A section. I think the second time through that little run is slightly different. They go to the B flat. So here's what we got. And then you're into the bridge. So if you're on the chart in the key of G, it's pretty readily available. I was trying to get some different keys this morning, so you shouldn't have any trouble finding it if you can't download it on my website. And So the bridge part, you're temporarily in E flat, and I've talked about it before. The 1-6-2-5s. You do a 1-6-2-5 in the key of E flat, and you do that twice. Actually, it does it more than twice. You know. 3 times. The fourth time you go to E flat, C minor 7, and then you have F minor 7. So the way I'm doing that 1-6-2-5, I play my E flat like that, probably the first bar chord most people learn, and I just bring this finger over for the C minor 7, and that if I want to put those melodies, but probably I'm gonna. Well, I'll put it in some, but I'm not gonna do a chord solo on the fly right here. That's the 1-6-2-5, and so get used to those because you have those in a lot of different songs, especially this era or the bebop era too. In the bebop era, they do it super fast. Maybe next week or the week after, I Got Rhythm has become public domain as well. So that was kind of the backbone of the Charlie Parker, the whole bebop era. They would say rhythm changes, which they meant the changes to I Got Rhythm. So they're worth learning in like all 12 keys if you can. Back to Dream a Little Dream of Me. We do the 1-6-2-5 3 times, and then the 4th time we'll go 1-6, and then we're just gonna do the 2-5 of the G, which takes you back to the A section. 2 5s is a cadence, which goes way back. Bach used those, and if like church songs, the amens, Might hear some. In classical music, they talk about perfect, authentic cadences where you have Tito and Soldo at the same time. But in here in jazz, you do a lot of that's my target. When you see that 2-5, I'm already back in the key of G. So if I'm soloing over this, I can pretty much stay in G for the whole A section. But when I get to that B section, I'm gonna be in like C minor or E flat major. So I could think that C minor pentatonic, if you're comfortable with that, but add some other notes besides just. You could just use those, but I would add some more notes. So that, and then you're back the same as the beginning. It does it like the second ending with that B flat. So the way I'm doing that right now is I'm grabbing the D on the 7th fret of the 7th fret of the G string. Then I'm grabbing that high E open, and then the A is right. B flat there. you could end on that chord if you want. You can fill in some, or you just have like a whole note chord. It might be a place you might want to fill in some notes, but stay in the key of G for that part. So maybe we'll try it with some rhythm tracks, and I can maybe do a little soloing as if you were with a full band. And this is Band in a Box. PG Music is a great program for learning to play with other people. I mean, it's not you don't sit and talk to it. I mean, I guess you can, but and discuss what you're doing. But it gets you used to playing with other instruments, and these are live tracks. So you're actually playing with top session players. And people, you can use it for recording or whatever. So yeah, you might check it out. Band in a Box, PG Music. They're really nice people too. It's not a really expensive program, and I've used it probably since the 90s. And they still had record of that. I only had to pay for the upgrade when I decided to start reusing it again. So I'm going to do it in the key of G. I'll play, jazz talk. We've talked about this before. I say, well, I'll take the head in, take a solo and then take the head out, So I have it programmed it 3 times through. So we'll see how it comes out. Yeah, I forgot I had my ending programmed in there. Yeah, so that's the good ending, you know, just the dream, a little dream of me. That little, it's really only the last two bars, you know. So that's Dream, a Little Dream of Me. And then learning in some different keys. The C version, I would maybe more of like a finger style, you know, like the Mamas and the Papas version. It sounds like they start off, you know, with like finger style guitar or something, you know. It's kind of an acoustic intro to that. B flat there. So you know, you experiment with that some. That's doing it with open strings, which might kind of work pretty good if you were a singer. I mean, I don't know if that would work for me. You know, star shining up above me, breezes in. Can't see that far. Something about birds singing in a sycamore tree. I have performed it with singers before. So it does have nice lyrics. So yeah, that's C and G, and try some other keys as well. That C version looks like it would be good for, you know, playing down here with open string chords. And for for that one, the bridge, it goes up to A, you know. So yeah, you're an A for the bridge part. So I'm just looking at my timer there. I've only got about a minute and a half. Not even that now. But thank you so much for watching. If you like the stuff, go on the YouTube and like that. I guess I'm not sure. I'm supposed to have a guest next week, so hopefully they'll show up. And I have a few guests lined up in February too. Some exciting guests. And then if you ever want to be a guest, just give me a shout. Thanks again for watching Jazz Chat on FATV and jazzchat.org, and on my YouTube channel, Eddy Troxler, EDDYTROXLER. Thank you.